Hello, I'm Adam Tomlinson and welcome back to the Hibee Buzz. Thank you for joining us for the latest episode, and I'm delighted to say I'm joined by three very special guests as we approach the anniversary of our League Cup triumph back in 1991. But before I introduce them, I'd just like to update you on a few changes to the show. We've adapted things slightly to make the Hibee Buzz better than ever. Firstly, the show is now available on Spotify as we change it to more of a podcast format. We're also hoping to make the content on the Buzz a little bit more timeless, so instead of match reviews and previews, we'll be offering more fun features, speaking to players, legends and fans to share unique stories from the club's history, as well as telling you what's going on today at Hibs. So with that in mind, let's get into episode 11 as I catch up with Gareth Evans, Mickey Weir and Keith Wright, three former players who helped us beat Dunfermline Athletic at Hampden 30 years ago to lift the League Cup. Guys, thank you for coming down to HTC. How are we all? You okay?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, doing well.
Nice to see each other again.
It is, yeah. It's always good to see the old blocks, yeah.
Has it been a while?
Reminiscing on old times there in the old training ground compared to the new one here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big difference, I can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Changed days, yeah. It's amazing what the lads are coming every day to this place. Brilliant.
Yeah. Before we go on to the final, which we are kind of all here to discuss, I thought we'd just go back to the early 90s. What are your memories? I'll start with you, Keith, of Easter Road and playing for Hibs.
Yeah, I was a Hibs supporter growing up, so I was used to coming along Easter Road every other week. So it was a dream come true when I eventually signed for Hibs in August '91. I'd been trying for a long time to get there, and it was a great feeling. First game was a home game, a friendly against Chelsea, that I eventually put the strip on, and brilliant. And just to be part of a great squad at that time when I joined, it was a lot of good players. And
you joined Gareth and Mickey, didn't you? Were they welcoming?
Very, very welcome. Yeah, I knew the lads. I knew obviously we were watching Hibs over the years, and even at Dundee, I still kept an eye on what was happening at Hibs. So to them be their teammates was great.
Mickey, what are your memories?
Well, I'd obviously been at the club a long time, so I've always said it's probably the best squad I worked with. I was a bit younger, obviously, played with a lot of good players and that, but this squad seemed to come together really quickly, didn't it? It just really kind of happened, but had a bit of everything in it, and really enjoyed playing with them. I was very fortunate to play with good players who I thought I've still say were very underrated,
What about you, Gareth?
Yeah, I came up in 1988, early 1988, and was kind of the outsider coming in, being the Englishman, or one of the few Englishmen to come up to Scotland at that particular time. But I soon learnt from Mickey, Paul Kane, John Collins, Eddie May about the history of the football club and how important it was to be the big team in the city and to beat your rivals, and how passionate they were about their football club as they'd been Hibs supporters all their lives. So it was interesting. It was different from playing football down south, let's say.
Yeah, there's some big characters in the dressing room at that point as well, right?
Yeah, it was a couple of personalities, wasn't there? Budgie was always a personality, but I always thought we got on really well. We just bonded really well. There was no really big time players, but we worked well as a team. I always felt we worked really well as a team, more than anything than I'd played with in the past. So I think that's a major factor in football, playing as a team rather than just individuals,
Yeah, I think just after I first came up, Steve Archibald signed for the club, who had been playing at Barcelona and Blackburn down south, and to get to play with players like that was absolutely fantastic for myself. I'm sure the other boys, or Mickey especially, would agree at that time. But no, then when Keith came in at the beginning of the year, August '91, you're saying there, Ted. And, I think it was a lot of money spent on Ted. I think $500,000, was it, to come from Dundee.
Pressure was on.
And he wasn't worth that at the time, but he was worth every penny, when we saw him play. And it just shows you that the club was meaning business.
What was Easter Road like at that point?
It was a bit of a lull with the year before, you know, with the Mercer bid and that type of thing. It was I went through that. Gareth went through it as well. It was difficult, really difficult. You didn't know if you had a club to play with at that time, and obviously we a boyhood supporter, the Hibs, thinking you're going to lose a club. It was crazy times, to be honest. But we got through it, and then that season we kicked on, got a good squad together, and it just happened very quickly.
Yeah, let's talk about the road to the final then. When, Keith, did you start to think it's possible we could get to the final or even win it, or is that always a belief when you play for such a big club like Hibernian?
Yeah, every year, even any club that you go to, every player will fancy their chances to win the cup. Always go out there and try and win. But the first time I realised that our first home game was against St Mirren that season, we won 4-1. Our first game in the league, and it was a great performance. And as Mickey says, the team had everything. It was quite a young team, a fit team. Beat St Mirren 4-1 at home, and I thought, I've joined a really good team here. Not thinking that 3 months later we're going to be cup winners. Didn't think we're going to go and do it that quick. But I thought it was a great squad here. So that sort of got me the idea that I've joined a good team here. And then from there, the Forum, we started the season really, really well, and we'll speak about that just now.
You obviously beat Stirling, Killie, Ayr on the way to the semi-finals. Any of those games kind of stand out for you guys?
I remember the Ayr game. I remember the manager having a right go at me at half time. You know, I never really got on with him after that. He had a right go at me at half time, probably rightly so. But when you're a player, you don't take it that way. But I certainly didn't. I was always having a sort of shout back at him type thing. But we weren't great, but we managed to get the result that mattered, because it's a tough place to go here, you know. And it was I remember it was a right good support, right good atmosphere, and we managed to get through that. And that was one that always stuck out to me, simply because I got a bollocking at half time.
What about you, Gareth?
Yeah, I remember the games. There were evening games at that time. It was before it was a different format when it was straight knockout. So I think going down to Ayr was on a Tuesday night, possibly. I think it was. I remember the Stirling game, so Stowe scored in that game, and the Killie game as well. So no, it was really good. But going back to previously to when the season started, I think before that, you know, it was the unwanted attention from our near neighbours who were trying to take over the football club, which to any Hibs supporter would have been an absolute tragedy. And the right thing happened, and the club fought back, and the likes of Kenny McLean Senior and William McEwen, you know, fought feverishly hard to save the club. And I think it kind of galvanised the whole football club, you know, what had happened, and there became a little bit more stability about it. And I think the players all realised then how much Hibs Football Club meant to everybody, and if it wasn't going to exist, then, you know, these people would be devastated. So, you know, we became more galvanised as a team, I think, as well, and you know, that realisation that we were still here, and, you know, we meant business, and spending the money on Keith to get him in was a piece of really good business.
What was that like for you guys? Obviously, being Hibs fans, when you're kind of going through that period, and there's a chance that the club might get taken over by your noisy neighbours.
It was just tough. It was just, you know, every single day people were asking you what's going on, what's happening. We didn't really know ourselves. It's funny, well, as I'll tell you, when you're a professional football player, sometimes you just got to blank out everything around you and go on with what really matters. But it was so difficult to go on, because every single day the pressure was on to find out we're going to have a club, you know. And you're thinking, as a professional, am I going to have a job? And that's the way I was thinking at that time. I was thinking, incredible, Hibs are going to go out with business. But as Gareth rightly said, great people, great Hibs people. They got everybody behind it. And at that time, we had Hearts players like John Robertson and that came to the rally, because they could see how much it meant to the Hibs supporters. And I think, to be fair, I think the other side of the city didn't see how much it meant to us. They thought it was just a matter of us getting together. Never going to happen. Just will never happen, you know. I knew that, but other people maybe thought otherwise, but it was never going to happen. Hibs and Hearts together, it's just not going to happen. You know?
I can imagine as a player as well, you thinking, like you say, about loads of different things. You're thinking about the fact that you might lose your jobs, but then when you kind of go further than that, it's that emotional connection that you've always had with the football club makes it even more powerful.
Definitely. There's so many people come involved in it. Everybody seems to get involved in it, you know. pop groups and, everything, golfers, everybody that supported the Hibs came out, it was unbelievable stuff that I used to get through. I always mind people just sitting, grown men, have always said that, coming from their work getting away at maybe 12 o'clock, standing outside the gates of Hibs, tears in their eyes, grown men, they don't realise how much football means to these people, because it's their whole life, so kind of looked at and it really brought home to us, myself, that this club is bigger than what even people would imagine, and that's the way I treated it.
What was it like for you, Keith? Obviously you weren't at the football club at that point, being a supporter of the club, but being a kind of professional player elsewhere. What was it like for you in that moment?
I was watching, I was in Dundee at the time, so I was watching, as Gareth says, all the things that were happening behind the scenes, and it was headline news. It was on the front page of the papers, and that it was big news in Scotland that Hearts tried to buy Hibs. So I was just watching from Dundee, thinking that this would be a disaster. If knowing deep down there's always going to be a Hibs and a Hearts in Edinburgh, it will never happen. But when it comes to the finance and you realise how much a state Hibs were in at the time, we thought this is a big worry. And then the more people got behind it. And it was just at that time I actually signed it. I thought there's no chance, because I was out of contract at Dundee, and I knew I was told I was have to move on, and I didn't think Hibs was going to be an option with what was happening. So when I got the phone call from Alec Miller to say come along for signing talks, it was unbelievable to hear how it had been sorted out, and the likes of Kenny McLean and Dougie Crome, our chairman, Tom Farmer, were all behind to make sure that the club stays together, and it's going to be a definitely a goal if you want to join the club. So it was great to hear that. And then when I did join the club, everything was for that first game at St Mirren, you felt the whole fans that were just delighted to have a club to support. So it was a massive crowd, and they were right behind the team from the start of that season, and that helped the players, definitely.
Everyone was really together. It sounds like the supporters, the staff, the players, and that's what can really push a team on to go on to a fantastic run like you guys did. I mean, you obviously beat Rangers as well in the semi-final, Gareth. What can you remember from that one?
Yeah, again, an evening game through at Hampden. I was a sub actually. I came on, I think, in the last half an hour for Mark McGraw, maybe a bit longer. But Rangers had a more than decent team at the time, which was near enough an England team, with the likes of Chris Woods, Graham Roberts, keep me right here, Trevor Stephen, Gary Stevens. I think Terry Hurlock was there at the time as well. And then allied with Mo Johnston, Ali McCoy to Mark Hateley, of course, another England player. So you're actually playing against near enough an England team at that particular time, with the Scottish players in there as well. So to go there and to beat them as we did, which we thoroughly deserved to beat them on the night when Mickey dinked it in, wasn't it, for Big Ted to go and score. And we could have won by actually more goals if I remember. Budgie was different class that night as well. He made a couple of good saves, but I'll let him explain that when he comes in to talk about it. Which I'm sure but no, it was a fantastic night, and we knew then that if we'd beaten Rangers in the semi-final, that we stood a chance against whoever we were going to play in the final, which is either Dunfermline or Redgrave.
Yeah.
Go on then, Keith. Tell us all about it.
I know, it was an unbelievable night, and we were in good form going into the game. We're up against the top team in Scotland. Just what happened with Rangers bringing all these top England players in, that they were a good team. But our league form was good going into the game, so we weren't going into the game not prepared. And with the squad that we had and the run we were on, we knew we were going to go there and have a go at Rangers. But it was unbelievable. Again, a fantastic crowd through, and then just the way the game went, it was well deserved. It wasn't as if we had scored and sort of defended the rest of the game. We had a good goal, had a good game with Rangers, and managed to score a goal after half an hour. Mickey put a great ball in and managed to score. And for the next hour, it was probably nip and tuck. Budgie had some great saves. We had 2 or 3 good chances, so it was a fantastic result. And it was our cup final really, because it was Dunfermline in the final. So you knew if you could win this game, you were going to be massive favourites to win the cup. So quick after what happened in the summer. So, and it all turned out great.
You had a good little relationship, you two, on the pitch.
Yeah, but I just used to look for his big head. If you couldn't, I kept saying that, if I can't find that, then I've got a problem, But no, I just seem to say, but the thing is, I've always said that the team, they seem to all work together, and give credit to the manager, because the manager was was a fantastic coach. Fantastic, knew the game. I've always said he's probably the best I've worked under, and I worked under a few managers, but Alec was by far the best at it. And you could see signs of it when they first came to the club. It took him time to get the players he wanted to get in, you know, and he done really well in the market. When you think about Pat McGinley for a free transfer, you know, and but Brian Hamlet, it was players in the team that could do work for others, you know. And I always say that Pat and Hammy and Keith, even Gareth and that, they all helped me, because I wasn't the best at getting up and down and, you know, fighting and battling and scrapping and all that. But you need the balance, you know. So, but very, very fortunate. But you could see when it started to come together, and then Murdo's great experience, been there, done it. Graham Mitchell, really good players, you know. And no matter what anybody says, that's football. You need to have the right players, you know. And Alex seemed to be Willie Miller. Just always, there was a lot of winners in the team. There was winners in the team, Gareth, you know. We weren't all the best friends when it come to training, because there would be a few rocks in training, but that's football. But there was a lot of winners, quiet about their business. They weren't like, you know, and that's what I liked about it. I could see wee Willie and, you know, Keith, Gareth, bunch of winners in the team that wanted to win. Then you got Murdo, who's got the experience to take us that forward. So within that team, never had any worries about going to beat Rangers. Fancied just against it, about the Rangers. If we turned up and played, which we did, we had our moments, they had their moments, but we could have had a few chances. We had a few chances to win it more. So no, but a very underrated side. I've always felt that, and you know, I've always said that there were a lot of good players on that side.
What was it like that night?
I think we were all ecstatic after the game, as you imagine. Hampden was full, the old Hampden. Hibs fans were fantastic after the game, and I think we went out for a few drinks. Did we not? In Edinburgh after the game, and it was absolutely mobbed in the town as well. But just reiterating what Mickey says there, you know, Alec was a fantastic coach and assembled a good team at that time with good players and good people who were very loyal to Alec, and he was loyal to us as well, and it seemed to work. But no, it was a fantastic night after the Rangers game, and you know, we had a final to look forward to after all of what the club had been through in the previous 12 months, and again that just seemed to bring everybody together within the club and within the green part of the city, with something to look forward to that they hadn't experienced for, you keep me right here, 20 years or so.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep.
It was 72. Yeah. 72, 19, 20 years.
Well, let's go on to that League Cup final then, the 46th League Cup final. And Gareth, Mickey, you both had chances early doors, didn't you?
Yeah, I had one. I had a slush at something. I can't remember what it was. But to be fair, the first half was one of the best, you know. We were pure. I think there was a lot of nerves in the game, you know, because it was a lot of our first cup finals, you know, and maybe quarter finals and that, but cup finals and that. And a lot of pressure was on us being big club. And I think we beat them the week before.
In the league game, a couple of weeks before
we beat them
quite convincingly.
Easter Road and comfortably, to be honest, you know. And but the first half, I always felt there was a nervousness about us, but Alec Miller's team talk at half time was the one that changed it for me. Just, I'd never seen him as calm, you know. He was really calm and just said, you know, you've got the fitness, you know, the tactics, you've got good players, just go out and win the cup. It was simple as that, wasn't it? And kind of just went, well, let's go out and get the first goal. And then I done my Northern Wisdom act. got the penalty, and then after that was second half. I think we were well in control of the game. You know.
Let's talk about that penalty then. Was it a foul?
Stonewaller. I always say that's a Stonewaller. It was a foul to me. It was, because I was saying to myself, as soon as you touch me, I'm going down here. You know, there's a cup to be won. You know, my mates always wind me up. You know, oh, you never done this, you never done that. I say, well, you know, I'll come in. You can have a look at my medal anytime you want, because it's a winner's medal. No, it was. I actually stumbled, to be truthful. I was trying to throw one in, and it went here. He kind of put his leg in front. I gave it the old Norman wisdom. Went down and got the penalty. But I could just remember. I don't know if the lads remember, but I just remember the relief. You know, the relief, because there was a lot of pressure on us. You know, I felt it for the after the Rangers game. Yeah. It just built, and I was actually hiding for like 2 weeks. I was hiding, staying away from staying at my mum's and no going outside because everywhere you went, it was you need to win the cup, and all the players now will probably feel when you're at a club like Hibs, the expectations you've got to live with that. And I was brought up as a 17-year-old. The expectations I walked into Paddy Stanton, Jimmy O'Rourke, and George Stewart, and every day it was about you're playing for the Hibs, and it meant a lot to you, So I was kind of brought up with it. But it wasn't till that day I realised how big a club was. When you looked at the support that came, it was just incredible.
I think there was 4,000 Hibs fans that couldn't get in the game that day. There was 30,000 in the ground and 4,000 that couldn't get in. But it was some sight. It really was. Yeah, and that put the pressure on even more, didn't it? Because we couldn't lose. We couldn't lose. But looking back at the Dunfermline team, I don't think people realise, and a lot of the younger people who support Hibs now will look at some of their players at the time and maybe not know who they were, but the likes of David Moyes was a centre-back who's been a manager at West Ham. Billy Davis was another one who played in the middle of the park, who was at Motherwell, Preston, amongst other teams, Derby, and Ian McCall, who they all probably know, who's been at Dundee United and Partick. So these boys knew all about football, and they were a decent team with Norrie McCarthy in their team as well. They were decent, so it wasn't as though we were just going to turn up and win the game. And like Mickey says, the manager was very calm at half time. It's the first time I've ever seen him calm with Mickey, to be honest with you. And he just told us if we went out and we played the way that we could, and took away the nerves, that we would win. So when the penalty came, it was such a relief. And Tam, I think, was the coolest man in the stadium at that time, taking the penalty kick.
If you're looking for something else to listen to, then check out our Inside Training podcast. We sat down with head coach Jack Ross and discussed tactics, training, motivating his players, and much more. It will certainly give you a great insight into your club. What did you make of the dive as such, or stumble, or whatever we want to call it?
I thought it was a stone wall, but see, when I watched it again at night, it was actually the fresh air shot he had before he went down. He actually tried to swipe the ball and he miskicked it, and then he fell down. I'm like, at the time I'm like, that's stone wall. When I watched it, I went, man, that's brilliant.
I was good there, fresh air one.
But it was when you see it, it was a shove in the back. It put him down, but just how slow he went down, it was funny. No, it was crucial. It was crucial because it settled us. Because as Mickey says, we didn't start well the game at all, the first half, and they were a good team. So after the half-time team talk, and then that was the sort of break we got. The penalty was a break for us, and once that goal went in and Tam coolly slotted it home, you just relief for the whole players, and we started playing then, and we dominated the game. They maybe had 1 or 2 wee chances after that, but then it was total domination, and we knew we were going to win the cup. Yeah,
and then you two combined again for the second goal, a really famous goal now in Hibernian history.
Well, I always said, in terms of strikers, Keith was one of the best finishers I played with. 1v1s are difficult. Gareth and I will tell you, they're striker having a striker, but.
I just made it look difficult.
But it's you go 1v1 with the goalkeeper. I played with a lot of boys, you're not sure, and it doesn't look comfortable. But when Big Keith went through, you always felt he'll score, and Archie was a bit like that, Gareth, wasn't he? When he went 1v1, you just go, it's in the net, it's a goal. And when you're playing with people like that, you know they're going to finish it. It's a big relief. But when Keith went through, I was always comfortable that we'd put in the net. And these big occasions like that, you need calmness when it matters, but you do know somebody that can hit the net when the chips are down, when you really have it, and because all the chances mean nothing. If you've got 2 chances and you take the 2 chances, nobody's interested in the rest of it. But I always see Keith was right up there with the best finishers I'd seen in a 1v1 situation. So once he went through, I was confident he'd score.
What was that moment like?
I was I didn't really have a lot of time to think about it. What I do remember is Gareth actually shut the guy down. I think the fullback was Eddie Cunnington.
It was just Ted. I was just
Was
about
it?
to say that.
It was.
yeah.
It was. No. See. I sort of read the situation. Gareth had closed down the fullback, and he lost the ball and went straight to Mickey. So I'd sort of read that because Gareth worked his socks off. And I knew if we can win the ball here, because there was Rakers in behind. So I sort of read the situation, but thinking, if this happens, I've got a chance here. And it sort of fell to Mickey. I just made the run, beat the offside trap with, I don't know, it was really close. Probably nowadays we'd probably give offside for that. It was so close, but when I was actually through on goal, it was just like the 3 weeks before that, we played Dunfermline, and I had the same situation with the same goalie. I'd done the same thing. I just went through 1-on-1. He does dive early, and I just as I approached the box, I knew he was going to go down and just dinked it over him. But you're just thinking, if this goes in, it's 8 to 8 minutes of it as the game's over. Best feeling in the world when it hit the back of the net. But it's just funny how you just read a situation and if this ball can arrive at my feet, because David Moyes and Norrie McCaffrey had pushed up and there was space in behind, so it just all fell perfect at the right time in the game, because that was the game done at 2-0.
What was it like? Full time whistle goes. Tell us, describe the emotion, the relief.
Yeah, I think it was a wee bit before that. I think Brian Hamilton hit the post, didn't he?
Free kick.
Was it a free kick?
Free kick.
And I think there was a prize, Ted. Is that right? for the person that scores the. Is that right? Go on,
no, it was. I didn't know about it at the time. We were celebrating after the game, and there's a lot of like stewards and that on the pitch and people running about, and this guy just grabbed me and I went, "Is your prize? There's a prize for the last goal of the game." It was a Rolex watch.
The whole tournament, wasn't it?
Aye, for the last goal of the tournament, Rolex watch. I thought it was a wind up, and I went and looked at his box, and it's a brand new Rolex watch. And I just thought about Hammy's free kick at the post. And I went, Hammy, see that free kick at the post? You could have won that.
But all night, I think we went to Dragonara or Hilton, was it that night?
Hilton, aye.
For the reception. And all night, all Ted was doing was showing Hammy. The whole night.
The Del Boy Rolex.
How was that night? Do you remember much?
It was probably before we even got to the night. The story after the game, there was like drug test after the game. I don't know if you've heard this one, and Mickey got picked as one of the players to sample. So the manager says, right, we're all on the bus thinking it's going to be half an hour. About an hour and a half later, Mickey's still trying to produce this urine sample. So we've just got boxes of Skull lager on the bus. So a lot of guys didn't see the night. Time we got back to Edinburgh with a few.
I think it was me and you, wasn't it?
Was it me as well?
You didn't drink. So I had a couple of cans of Skull produced right away, and then you were still there.
Oh, it's like I couldn't pee. Anyway, but I remember going on the bus, and I'm thinking, they're all half smashed already. But they were already on it before we even started. You know, I'm thinking myself, but nah, it was great, especially when you go into Edinburgh and the scenes. I don't think never seen anything like it since. I think the Scottish Cup would probably be the only one that would get close to it, because the scenes were just like everywhere you went. You know, Hibs supporters everywhere. And I knew, obviously, being a Hibs supporter and being brought up in the club, I always said that Hibs is a big club, you know. But that day they were just coming out everywhere.
I think we came back from Hampden, and then the coach went to the Maybury, I think it was, and then it started becoming a procession. We got on the open top bus off the coach onto the open top bus, started going along Christophin that way into the town, and sporadically was people all coming out and going along the street. And then as we got closer to Princes Street, it just became a sea of people, and it was unbelievable the amount of people that were on the streets on Princes Street. And then we came down Leith Walk by the Playhouse, you know, and started going down Leith Walk, didn't we? And it was just absolutely mobbed with people. I'm meaning a sea of people, and I can only imagine what the guys who won the Scottish Cup felt like when they seen it, because it must have been twice as much with what happened that day. But for us back in '91, we just couldn't believe what we were seeing. Then we came back up Easter Road, it was exactly the same, and then we went into the stadium, didn't we, from there?
You couldn't believe that, again, a full house at
Easter
couldn't
Road.
believe it. We thought we'd gone back to the stadium just for a reception, and then you're on the pitch, guys, on at the pitch, and it was a full house again. It was unbelievable. It was just relief after again, we keep saying it, what happened in the summer. A relief to still have a club, then to win a cup within 3 months. It was just unbelievable how much it meant to the fans and obviously the players, but just seeing the joy and they've got a club to support and never parading a cup. It was unbelievable scenes.
I mind meeting Pat Stanton about 3 weeks before, it was before the final, and he said to me, "You'll never see anything like it if you win this cup." He says, "You'll never see anything like it. It'll be a lot better than the 72, 72, I think." He says, "There'll be nothing like that." Just simply because what had happened. I can remember seeing people who I seen at the Maybury, 2 Simpsons, friends of mine, seen them at the Maybury, and then I seen them on the ground. And I'm thinking, how did you get here all the way through Princess Street? You know, but that's the way it was. But it was just like absolute chaos, mayhem. But as I say, it was something you'll never forget, you know, and hopefully some of the players at the club just now will get that feeling, you know, and it makes you a better person as well, you know, because you feel you've achieved something, you know, especially when you've supported the club, you know. And I've seen the bad days of the Hibs, you know. I've seen the bad days to that day. It was just incredible. And then after that, obviously playing in Europe. If you'd have said to me as a 16-year-old boy, you're going to play and win a cup for the club that you supported, play in Europe, you know, if you Granton in Edinburgh, thinking, yeah, it'll not happen, but shows you dreams happen, you know, if you're willing to work at it and keep going. It's amazing. And I must say about Gareth, I was speaking about him the other day there actually with players. When you play with players, it's not till we actually play with them you realise how good a player they were, you know, how underrated they were. And I was speaking about a guy the other day and I said to him, you know something, played with a lot of good players and that, but Gareth was the type of person you always wanted him to be in your team. You know, simply because if he were a centre back, he was a nightmare to him. He was an absolute nightmare because he never stopped. And it's amazing what hard work will get you. You know, it pays, but it's hard work in football means a lot. You can have all the talent, but if you're not prepared to just put that wee bit. But Gareth had a bit about him as well. He wanted to win, you know, and it sounds silly, but you need to have that about him. And I was saying to him, if you'd only seen him go and sit and watch some of the videos, his work rate, for when he first came to the club, as an unknown, Gareth, wasn't you?
It's a good job at the final that I made the tackle and not the pass through and had the finish.
But when I seen him when he first come, because he come from nowhere, Gareth, the club never paid a lot of money for him. But what a player he was within a team. You know, if you're a centre back, you're thinking, oh, he's never back. He just keeps running and running. It's amazing what hard work gets you, you know, and that's what I always looked at. Wasn't he just 11? It was Mark McGraw, done a great turn for us, Neely Orr, David Bowman. Wasn't he just at 11? The whole group all done a wee bit. We were all a small squad, Ted, weren't we?
Yeah, no, I loved it. As you say, Alan Miller, he brought in different types of players, and there was a sort of east-west sort of rivalry at train as well. There was a couple of cars come through for the West, Pat McGinley and Graham Mitchell, Tom McIntyre. So it was a wee bit banter as that with the Edinburgh-Glasgow connection as well. So that was good, and they were really good players. They're like Graham Mitchell, left back, was 8 out of 10 every week. Every week you just got the same thing from Mitch. Solid defender, great delivery. Willie Miller on the other side, other full back. Tom McIntyre, Gordon Hunter, who was an Edinburgh lad, who was a quiet lad, but when he went on the pitch, he was a different breed altogether. Just wanted to win games and loved playing for the club. We spoke about Murdo, Gareth, Mark McGraw, just guys that were one of the big players in Scotland at the time, but as a group together, we were a hard team to beat, and it was good to play amongst that.
Yeah, and a group that's gone down in Hibernian history. And on to modern day. Obviously, Gareth, you're still with us at Hibernian. Just tell us a little bit about your role at the club.
Yeah, I work predominantly with the academy, with the under-18 team. Was down with the B team at Huddersfield there on Tuesday with David Gray. So a little bit of everything is my role. And it's great at the moment within the academy to seeing that the players that we have representing the national team. We had 2 players, one of them captained Scotland under-16s on Friday, Ted. And then we've got another one today away with the 17s. We've got a 16-year-old goalkeeper with the 19s. So we're promoting young players as much as we can. We had a 14-year-old score in the under-18s game on Friday night, which was great to see. So I think we've got more international players in the academy than we've had for a long time. We've got players training up with the first team as well from the academy, which is fantastic to see. So yeah, we're going in the right direction with the young boys, but it's hard work, and it's trying to make them realise what opportunity they now have within the game of football to change their lives. You know, the rewards that they can get from playing top level football now is so far removed from what it back was when we played football, and it was just making a living, I suppose, at that time. But now it can be life changing. Yeah. So the harder that they work, you know, the more rewards they're going to get. So that's my kind of role at the club, and working closely with Eddie May to bring these young players through to hopefully play for Hibs one day. And there's nothing better than seeing local boys as well doing well within the academy, because you know how much that club means to them. And I kind of know that a little bit more now after seeing what happened with the Hands Off Hibs campaign and how everybody rallied together to make this club what it is today. So no, it's even better when you see local boys doing really, really well, because you know we want the fans to be singing as one of our own when they get to play at Easter Road. So no, that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm working at the club. I've been back about 4 years again now, so that's about 17 years in total with playing and coaching that I've been here. So I think everybody's fed up with me.
Definitely not. Keith, and you're at the SFA, right?
Yeah, I'm working the performance school in Edinburgh, in Broughton High School, which has got 22 Hibs players here at the moment. So young players that are between S1 and S4 who get extra time to work on their individual technique. And Gareth spoke about Rudy and Jacob, who are at the school, who played with Scotland on Friday there in the Victory Shield. So no, it's a great post for me. I love it. On the pitch every day with the top young players. I'm working closely with Gareth and the young Hibs players that we've got to school. So as Gareth says, it'd be great to see them all progressing into be hopefully top players.
Yeah, Mickey, you're with the Show Racism and Red Card.
Yeah, I work with the Show Racism and Red Card campaign. I've done it for many years now. I don't do a great deal, to be honest. I just turn up and speak to the people and maybe go to a few schools. But now my role kind of changed, where I try and seek donations for the charity, because every year we struggle to make ends meet, to be fair. And the amount of work that the people doing behind it is unbelievable for the amount of money that they get in, you know, and their whole funding's been completely cut to nothing over the last couple of years. Obviously with the COVID's hitting, so it's been hard for us, but so I'm now going to be out there again seeking some donations to keep the charity going, because it's, as you see on the weekend, you know, got such good support for the clubs, you know, and people who knew about the charity. But when I first went in, myself and Derek Ferguson, who helps as well, it was a very small campaign, you know, but it just grew and grew. And unfortunately, with the racist incidents that have started up again, it just seems to get bigger and bigger, you know. But we didn't want it to be that way, because you don't want to be hearing about these incidents every single week now, you know. But the social media and is a real problem. It's a real problem for not just the racist incidents, but for football players, you know, young footballers. It's just horrendous, some of the stuff that we're seeing at the moment. I've never seen anything like it, but hopefully through time, all the work that we put in, it'll be worthwhile, you know, because it's the next generation we're trying to target, really, and they understand it, and it's got to take time, but we'll just keep plodding on.
Yeah, absolutely. The work that you're all doing is absolutely fantastic in its own little way. And Mickey, you had a massive role, didn't you, in rounding up all the guys to come down to Easter Road on Wednesday evening? Yeah,
it was. Well, I got a call, as you know, from one of the lads from hospitality, and I just threw out there to the boys. And most of the guys like to see each other, but a lot is to do with work commitments, because a lot of people have got work commitments, you know. So I've rallied a group of us for the week for the Celtic game, and then we've got the anniversary on Saturday night. I'm looking forward to seeing the guys again, you know, because it's just when they get a few drinks in them, that's when I like to enjoy it, you know, because they tell me how good a player they were, you know. So, but it's always great to see your ex-teammates, you know, because football's comes and goes, and Gareth's right, your career just goes like that, you know. I wish I was 16, 17 again, starting up in getting a chance to play for your club. But no, it goes by, and that's when every opportunity I always like to see my ex-teammates, but it's so hard, because they're all over the place, working all different stuff. So, but no, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Wednesday. I'm looking forward to the one on Saturday night as well.
Can you believe it's almost 30 years?
Can't believe it now. Just flew in, to be honest. And you look back. But as Mickey says, it's great. We didn't get a chance to see a lot of the lads with various jobs that they've got. So I think it was 5 years ago. I think the 25th anniversary. We got together. Probably that's the last time I've seen a few of the lads like Pat and Mitch and that. So it'll be good to see them again. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't believe it's 30 years. I must be honest. That time's just flown by, and it's still as memorable now as it was back then. And when people do bring it up on anniversaries like this, it just makes you realise how special it was to play for the club on such a big occasion. And I think we're just all thankful that the club's still here after what happened and how it's going so well now under Mr. Gordon and Jack. And we're delighted to see the team at the top end of the table.
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll be a really special evening as well on Wednesday evening when you're all out there with a full house under the lights at Easter Road ahead of our game against Celtic. Guys, it's been great catching up, reliving some of the memories, and I hope you've enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for inviting us in, yeah.
So there we go, that's the latest episode of the Hibee Buzz. I hope you're able to reminisce about our 1991 League Cup triumph, and it brought back some really special memories for you. These three and more of the guys from the winning team will be at Easter Road on Wednesday evening, so make sure you give them a great atmosphere when you see them. Thanks again for listening, and I hope you enjoyed our latest podcast.